सदाशिवसमारम्भं शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिनि व्योमवद्व्याप्तरिहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तन्तोटकं वार्तिककारमज्ञानस्मद्गुरुं सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि यत्साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दं प्रत्यगद्वयमक्रियं तन्नमामि नोऽस्यस्य योगिगम्यं परं पदम् खानिलाग्न्यधरित्रन्तं सृग्भणीयोदितं यतः ध्वान्तच्छिदनमस्तु हरये बुद्धिसाक्षिणे. Yeah. So we have here 55th verse said pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvad atmadrishti anushilanat ato vritti. I think we have to do this. We have, yeah. We have done this, yeah. Ato vritti vihai anya yam vrittya upalapchyate. So having given up all other vrittis except for the Brahmakara vritti, where the aham is clear, aham brahma asmi. So it says pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvad. What was the sangati there? Idanim aham shabdasya atmani gunavrittim aham. Aham means I, which is not only Chaitanya, it is Chaitanya mishrita with Jada. Jada Chaitanya mishrana. So with Lakshana, meaning not the Mukhya vritti, Mukhya meaning, but Amukhya or Gauna, secondary meaning, implied meaning. With that, you can land on the Atma Shabda, whereby Aham Brahmasmi will work. Aham Brahmasmi, where Aham will mean through Lakshana, Gunavritti, as Pratyagatma, starting with Ahankara Mishrana. So here, he says, Aham Shabdasya, Aham Shabda does not mean only Ahankara, although we said it means Ahankara, but it is Ahankara with Chetana Mishrana, and to land on Chetana with the Guna Vritti, implied meaning, you can get the Pratyagatma meaning, and thereby Aham Brahmasmi Mahavakya will work. Then he says Pratyaktvad. The Hetus are given due to what? Being the innermost and being extremely subtle. Not only Sukshma, but what? Ati Sukshma. Ati Sukshmatvat. And Atmadrishti Anushilanat. The Ahankara and Atma are mixed up in such a manner that Ahankara follows the Atma Vritti. Atmadrishti, rather. Atmadrishti. Atma in the primary meaning is Pratyagatma only. Aham in the primary meaning is Ahankara only. But when they are both Mishrita, that Aham Shabda has Pratyagatma meaning also, Ahankara meaning also. So Ahankara has to be given up. Anushilana is there. So Anushilanat, he says, and due to what? Chaitanya bringing the Ahankara to life, Atmadrishti Anushilanat. And thereby the Ataha Anya Vrittihi Vrittihi Dvitiya Bahuvachana Anyaha Vrittihi are to be given up, and you land on Aham Vritti. Aham Vritti itself, because that Aham Vritti is the one where Chaitanya is very clear. In the Ghatapatadi Vritti, Chaitanya is not clear. Because Aham Ghatam Janami, their Ghata as an object separates the Pramata from the Prameya. Thereby, in all vrittis, it is not possible to see Pratyagatma. Although Pratyagatma is there in that vritti also, Pratibimbita. In Ghatakara vritti also, Chaitanya is there, which is causing the Phalavyapti. In the case of in the case of Brahmakara Vritti, Phalavyapti is not needed because Atma is Prakasha Sarupa. There, Ahankara is the closest to the Atma. Therefore, this Aham Vritti is the one that makes it easy to go from Aham with Ahankara Mishrana to Aham as Pratyagatma without Ahankara Mishrana. Otherwise, for a jnani, for one who is already jnani, for him Ghatakara, Patakara Vritti itself, there itself he can have Atma Jnana because everything is Atma by Badasamanadikarni. So, Ghatapatadi Sarvam Nasti. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma means Brahma eva, Aham eva asmi, Aham Atma eva, Aham eva asmi, Natu Prapanchaha asti. So, that is his Anubhava. How so? Because there Chaitanya is very clear to him, Ananda Swarupa Atma, even in Vyavahara. But otherwise, Atma Drishti Anushilanat Ahankara itself, Aham Vritti alone will lead to Pratyagatma for Ajnani. So here, Ataha Vrittihi, Anyaha Vrittihi Vihaya, Hi Aham Vrittya Upalakshate. Through the Aham Vritti, not any other Vritti, but Aham Vritti alone, through that Aham Brahmasmi. So here the question is, oh, why do you talk about other Vrittis? Ghatapatadi are not in question. Aham Vritti itself is in question. When Mamaham Janami, there Aham Vritti is there. We are not talking about Ghatamaham Janami. We are talking about Mamaham Janami. This is where the Purva Pakshi started debating this topic in the Sandarbha. So why do you talk about other Vrittis? So Siddhanti says the other Vrittis are to show that Pratyagatma is not clear there, but in Aham Vritti it is clear, and in Mamaham Janami it is tricky to see Aham in the meaning of Pratyagatma because Mam and Aham both seem to be Pratyagatma or both seem to be Ahankara. Siddhanti said it is very difficult to separate out Aham from Mam in Mamaham Janami, but it should be easy for you also because there the Purva Pakshi thought that Aham means what? Atma. Mam also means Atma. That's why he thought that Mamaham Janami means Atma itself is objectifying itself, which is not the case. So Siddhanti says that there you see that Ahankara has become as though one with Atma, Atma Drishti Anushilana. Therefore, this Aham Vritti in Mamaham Janami is special compared to the Ghatamaham Janami, and that specialty lets you understand Aham Brahmasmi also. Because the Aham in Mamaham Janami is same as Ghatamaham Janami. In that Aham is same. But still there is a difference. Because Aham Vritti in Mamaham Janami is still close. In the Ghatamaham Janami also, Aham has that Chaitanya Mishrita Aham. But there it is very easy to miss the Chaitanya part. But in Aham, Mamaham Janami, that Aham, there it is possible to be confused that Mam is also Atma and Aham is also Atma. So now Siddhanti says in Aham Brahmasmi, you should take the understanding that you already have in Aham Pada, in Mamaham Janami, drop the Mam understanding as wrong where Mam is Ahankara. So in Aham also there, Pratyagatma meaning is through Lakshana. Drop the Ahankara in Aham, and then in that Aham Vritti, you will find Pratyagatma through Lakshana. This is the Prayoga really. This is how the progression is. Otherwise, you don't see Pratyaktvad, Ati Sukshmatvad, Atma Drishti Anushilanat as what? Because in the Sangati, Sambandhokti, there was no Sangati in the Sambandhokti. It was in continuation to the earlier 54th verse, which said what? Na jnashisham iti praha sushupta duttitopi ayodahadi vattena lakshanam paramatmana. This Atma can be known only through Lakshana. It cannot be directly objectified. Through the buddhi alone you can know, and through the buddhi you can know only through lakshana, because buddhi cannot objectify atma. Thereby the progression is what? Going from ghatamaham janami to mamaham janami to aham brahmasmi, and understanding the subtlety in the aham vritti in all three cases. In ghatamaham janami also aham vritti is there. In mamaham janami also aham vritti is there. And in aham brahmasmi also aham vritti is there. That aham vritti is same really. Unfortunately, with the ghatamaham janami, there is so much of prameya noise, ghatadi prapancha noise, that it is very easy to miss the aham vritti. In mamaham janami, it is the other extreme. Mam also can be in the meaning of pratyagatma, and thereby becomes an object for the purva pakshi. So ghatamaham janami is one end where aham vritti pratyagatma is not clear through aham vritti, although it is the same aham vritti. And in mamaham janami, it is not clear, but the mam is also misunderstood. Mam is also misunderstood as in the meaning of atma, so it is the other extreme. Atma becomes an object. Atma is the subject in all three cases, but in the first case, Atma is the subject, but the subject is missed because the object is the focus. Like in Karmani Prayoga. In Karmani Prayoga, the Karta becomes Gauna. So in Ghatamaham Janami is not Karmani Prayoga, but I'm just giving a Vyakarana example. In Kartari Prayoga, Karta is Pradhana. In Karmani Prayoga, Karma is Pradhana. In the Jagrada Avastha and Swapna Avastha, it is very easy to miss the subject of the Kriya. And through the subject, you have to land with Lakshana, dropping the subject as connected with the object and landing onto Asanga Atma. This is the process. So it is difficult to see the Sakshi behind the Pramata when the Prameya is there. Prameya becomes Pradhana, because that is the reason that I am looking at the Prapancha. My entire Vyavahara with the Prapancha is with the Prameya in mind, the Vishaya in mind, not with the, I don't look at the Prapancha to know who I am. Open eye meditation is very difficult. So I can't be looking at Prapancha and say that through the Prapancha I am trying to understand me. Very difficult. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. That's why Ishavasyam idam sarvam, you look at everything as Ishvara. Then you land on Ishvara as Aham. Directly landing on Aham is not possible. Now in the Mamaham Janami, it goes to the other extreme. Oh, Mamaham Janami means I know myself. Then the subject is Pradhana, because the subject is the Vishaya as though. Unfortunately, that as though Vishayatvam is not understood for the Aham, and Atma itself is misunderstood to be the meaning as of Mam. Even in the closed-eyed meditation and Chintana. Thereby, you have to land on the Aham Vritti, which is common across all three, but to remove the mixed up Ahankara with Aham Pada. And thereby in Aham Brahmasmi, this Ayodahadivat, it was mentioned, Lakshanam Paramatmanaha, everywhere. But in the Aham Brahmasmi, through the 55th verse. So here in Aham Brahmasmi, he says that Pratyaktvad Ati Sukshmatvad Atma Drushti Anushilanat Ataha Anyaha Vrittihi Vihaya. So Vishaya Vritti has to be given up, and you land on the Atma through Lakshana without making Atma as the Vishaya object. Thereby he Aham Vritya Upalakshate. There is an Upalakshana. So this is a Klishta verse, so I thought I'll revisit it because I don't think I did justice. I hope that I have done some justice to it now, because it is not easy to see how these hetus connect. How these hetus connect with Aham Vritya Upalakshate. Because Aham Vritti has been in discussion all along. The idea is that there is a Lakshana being done. This is the focus of 55th verse as to In every case, to land on Pratyagatma, you have to do Lakshana only. And Aham has the meaning of Pratyagatma, not with Mukhya Vritti, but with Gauna Vritti, Guna Vritti. So thereby further in the Tika, Swavyatirikta Sakala Anatma Apekshaya Antaratvad. So Pratyaktvad, why Aham Vritti? Why not other Vritti? So he says Swavyatirikta Sakala Anatma Apekshaya. Sakala Anatma is Ahankara Adi really. Ahankara is also an object like Ghatapatadi, but in Mamaham Janam it is not clear. So you take the example of Ghatakara Vritti, Patakara Vritti, Prapanchakara Vritti, and then say Swavyatirikta. Sakala Anatma Apekshaya. So from the grossest to the subtlest which can be objectified is Ahankara. Thereby Apekshaya Antaratva, because it is the innermost compared to every object other than myself, because I can never become an object. The I that is objectified is Ahankara, that ego. That is one part. Second is what? The Ati Sukshmatvat. The second hetu is Ati Sukshmatvat Dravyatve Sati Sparshadi Rahitatvat. So this is the meaning of Sukshmatvat. Sukshmatvat means what? It is Dravya and also Sparshadi Rahita. So this is needed in the Tarkika to counter the, or to basically to discuss in the Tarkika's language. Sparshadi Rahitattva would be sufficient. That is the Sukshmatvam. What is Sukshma? Subtle is that which does not have any guna to be objectified. But guna itself is free from guna. So guna does not have, sparsha does not have sparsha. Sparsha does not have rupadi. Therefore, there is ativyapti in guna. Therefore, dravya is mentioned. Tarkasangra background is needed to understand this. So, dravyatve sati, being a dravya, meaning not a guna. Atma is not a guna, it is dravya. It is substantial. In fact, it is the only substance. So, dravyatve sati sparshadi rahitatvat, because Atma is, Pratyagatma is dravya. Why dravya should be mentioned? Because it is not guna. Guna is also sparshadi rahita, and it does not have, itself does not have gunas like sparshadi. Therefore, it cannot become an object. Because what is objectified really? With the five indriyas and antakarana also, what is really objectified is shabda sparshadi. Shabda sparsha, rupa rasa gandha, these gunas are objectified. Gunas are themselves without gunas. And the lesser the gunas, the dravyas which have less guna, they are subtle. So Prithvi is the most gross, the grossest, because it has five gunas. Prithvi is very easy to see. Jala is Sukshma. Further Sukshma is Agni, because of another guna being less. Has only three gunas compared to Jala, which has four, compared to Prithvi, which has five. And then Vayu is even Sukshma, has only two gunas, Shabda and Sparsha. And Akasha is subtlest in the Mahabhutas, Pancha Mahabhutas, because it has only Shabda. So lesser the gunas, the more the subtlety. So Ati Sukshmatvad means what? More Sukshma even than Akasha, because Akasha has at least Shabda. Through the Shabda, it is Pratyaksha. Shabda is Pratyaksha, so Akasha is Pratyaksha. But even Shabda lacking in Atma, and still it is Dravya also. Gunas are objectified even without gunas. So Sparshadi Rahita, Shabda is also an object. But Atma is Ati Sukshma. It is Dravya. It is not guna, but being Dravya, it is also without any gunas. Therefore, Sukshmatvacha Atma Sadharmyam. Atma Sadharmyam Kasya. It is like Atma. Here the Aham Vrittya Upalakshate. Here meaning Sukshmatvam. Here it is said Atma Sadharmyam. This is the Atma Dharma, like others also, Sukshmatva. This is tricky to see because Atma itself is being talked about. Ataha Vrittihi Vihaya Anyahi Aham Vrittyaha. Anyaha Vihaya Upalakshate. If you say anya upalakshyate, गुणवृत्ति शब्दस्य आत्मनि प्रत्यक्त्वात् atmasadharmyam, here you have to take, otherwise you will have to take brahmakara vritti, which is different from aham vritti. Then the anvaya will be different. Give me one moment. So aham itself is being discussed here. What was the sangati there? A little longer break also. I have lost the flow. Just give me one moment. यह केचिद चोदयन्ति ओयम इत्यादि अहम ब्रह्मास्मि इति ब्रह्म पदार्थ सामानादि वक्तव्या वा सो प्रत्यगात्मनि वृत्ति वक्तव्या. दिस इज द संगति. सोच्यते प्रसिद्ध लक्षण गुणवृत्तिभिः सोच्यते वृत्ति सोच्यते वक्तव्या. सो वृत्ति, इफ इट इज टेकन अन्या वृत्ति, देन इट्स अ लक्षणा वृत्ति. In the Hindi, what is the translation there for 55? Because here I was considering it as Pratyagatma, but here Atma Sadharmyam throws me off. विचार किया जाता है, इसलिए घटादि विषय अन्य वृत्तियों को छोड़कर अहंकार आत्मिका वृत्ति से प्रत्यगात्मा उपलक्षित होता है. ही इज ऑल्सो टेकन प्रत्यगात्मा. सो व्हाट वी हैव डन इज राइट, बट प्रत्यगात्मा उपलक्षित होता है इज फाइन थ्रू अन्यावृत्ति. नाउ ही सेज सूक्ष्मत्वात् आत्मसाधर्म्यम. What we can say is here आत्मसाधर्म्यम कस्य वृत्त्यः we can say, but this सूक्ष्मत्वाच्च हेतु does not work to atmasadharmyam. So a little tricky to understand here why atmasadharmyam has been given. Sukshmatvacha atmasadharmyam kasyaha we can say vrityaha. So justification for aham vritti. Because see, pratyaktvad hetu is for atma. Ati sukshma is also for atma, not for aham vritti. Here also he say or we have to take what we can say is otherwise better way to atma sadharmyam, to make sense of atma sadharmyam, you can say aham vrittya, hi aham vrittya प्रत्यगात्मा उपलक्ष्यते is all right. That is what we have done. But with प्रत्यक्त्वाद अति सूक्ष्मत्वाद आत्मदृष्टि अनुशीलनात्, here we can take all these hetus for the aham vritti itself. We can say aham vritti is pratyak, अति सूक्ष्म also, and atmadrushti anushilana. But then see sparshadi rahitatva, all this does not work. So I'm not happy with this atma sadharmyam. I can't really explain this well. I'll be very honest with you. Atma sadharmyam is something that I have very difficulty to explain this sukshmatva being explained there. Because sukshmatva, all these hetus are for pratyagatma. And thereby through aham vritti, which is the subtlest. So you can say it is subtle. So what we can say is that Atma is subtle, therefore it is known only through aham vritti. Only through aham vritti. This much is okay. But this Atma sadharmyam kasyaha, so there we'll say sukshmatvacha aham vrittehe Atma sadharmyam. So we can say this is to counter the Purva Pakshi. This Atma sadharmyam really what? Atmadrushti anushilanath atmasadharmyam. So this sukshmatvacha, we can put a full stop here. What I would do is to make a little more sense, I would put a full stop here, right? And say atmasadharmyam atmadrushti anushilanaditi. There it may work. So I'll take atmasadharmyam with atmadrushti anushilanath hetu, not with the pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvad hetu. I'll say Atmasadharmyam Atma Drushti Anushilana. Because this Ahankara Vritti follows the Atma Drushti. Really very close to Atma. Atma Drushti means that Drushti itself is what? Atmanaha Drushti Rao Shirovat. Rao Shiravat Shashti, as though, the Atma itself is the, because Darshana, that Darshana Kriya is also Atma's Swabhava. स्वभावतः alupta drik. Therefore, atmasadharmyam vrittya asti. And thereby the confusion of the Purvapakshi that aham means atma in the mamaham janami and in aham brahmasmi also. But Siddhanti says no, aham brahmasmi, the aham pada in aham brahmasmi does not mean pratyagatma directly. There is a atma sadharmyam of the ahankara vritti there, aham vritti. But that aham vritti by itself does not mean pratyagatma. So atma sadharmyam is there. Why? Because atma drishti anushilanat. That's how I can make sense of atma sadharmyam. Otherwise, take it with a pinch of salt that this pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvad atma drishti anushilana, atma drishti itself, their anushilana is for the vritti. But pratyaktvad and ati sukshmatvad also. Ati sukshmatva hetu won't work with the vritti, but we can say with comparison to other vrittis, we can say that. So take all the hetus for aham vritti and say therefore aham vrittya atma upalakshate. But the thing is that if we take that meaning also, Purvapakshi does not have this question. So we can say prasangat uktam. This is not answering the Purvapakshi at all. Purvapakshi never asked this question as to compare to Ghatapatadi vritti, why aham vritti is being used. That this gives answers that kind of a question, but Purvapakshi never raised that question. Therefore, what should we say? We'll say that aham vritti is being used instead of other vrittis, just in prasanga it is uktam. Apatata. So it is not really the sandarbha. But it is also being explained for the sadhaka to understand how aham vritti works in the meaning of pratyagatma. Ghatapada adi vrittis cannot mean pratyagatma anyway, because ghata is an object. There is a clear subject-object division, and subject cannot be really inquired into when the ghata is being seen, because that takes primary, it takes predominance. Vishaya becomes important. So prasangad we can take, that is one way, or you take hetus are given for one hetu works with this atma drishti anushilanat, hetu works with the aham vritti, and pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvad hetu for the atma, and thereby being close to the atma through this aham vritti, pratyak atma and ati sukshma atma cannot become the direct meaning, but implied meaning it can be. So there are multiple ways to see it to make sense. Whichever makes sense to you, hold on to that. Because had Atma Sadharmyam not been there, I would have explained it. I would have held on to my explanation. But Atma Sadharmyam really puts me off, because Atma cannot be Atma Sadharmyam. So in Atma Sadharmya is the Aham Vritti. So Aham Vritti is being explained as very close to Atma, but it is not really Atma. Why? Pratyaktvad anati sukshmatvat Atmana. So Atma Drishti Anushilanat Aham Vrittya Atmana Pratyaktvad ati sukshmatvat Anyaha Vrittihi Vihaya Ataha Aham Vrittya Upalakshate. This is the Anvaya. Then we can make some sense. You'll do an adhyara of the Atma Shabda for the earlier two hetus, and Atma Drishti Anushilanat will go with the Aham Vritti as hetu. Okay, I hope this is somewhat clear. But anyway, I think the overall meaning is what? Only Lakshana will work. Direct meaning won't work with Aham also in Aham Brahmasmi as well. That is the Tatparya. Why, if you dig in, then you need details. Atmanah Swarupa Bhuta Yadrushtihi Taya Anushilana Tada Abhasa Udayena Nirantara Sambandha Ityartha. So Aham appears as Atma in the Mamaham Janami or Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Shabda itself with Vachyartha appears as Pratyagatma. Why? Because Atmanah Swarupa Bhuta Yadrushti. Swabhavata, which drishti is there of Atma, Sakshi drishti, that itself is being followed by the Aham. Aham janami, aham jami, aham pashyami, aham shrunomi ityadi. That Aham follows the Atma vritti, and thereby what? Atma drishti, thereby Taya Anushilana, tada abhasa udayana. Anushilana, tad abhasa udayana. Tad abhasa, samasta pada can be taken, tad, not tada, tad. Then तद आभास उदयेन तस्य आत्मनः आभासः कुत्र उदयति in the aham vritti itself. Pratibimbita. In aham, there is a pratiphalana. It is also called as pratiphalana of Chaitanya. This is called as pratibimba or abhasa. Then what? That tadatmya takes place, and aham, as though ahankara, although aham is ahankara there, that ahankara is seen as atma with the tadatmya sambandha. Nirantara sambandha nityartha. Never is there an ahankara vritti, because ahankara vritti is not there in Shushupti. Never is the case that you will have ahankara vritti in Swapna or Jagrata Avastha as soon as you wake up from the deep sleep. Whether you go in Swapna or Jagrata Avastha, as soon as there is aham vritti, immediately it is with the abhasa. So nirantara sambandha. Thereby there is a confusion that aham means pratyagatma. It is not so. Through guna vritti, yes, not directly, not vachyartha, only through lakshartha. This is the tatparya of 55th verse. इदानीम अंतःकरण विशिष्टे अहम शब्दस्य मुख्यया वृत्त्या वृत्तिः अस्ति इत्याह. मुख्या वृत्त्या वृत्तिरस्ति. So what does it mean? इदानीम अंतःकरण विशिष्टे अहम शब्दस्य. So there is another meaning with the mukhya vritti. What is the meaning? Antakarana vishishta aham. When there is an antakarana vishishta aham, not Chaitanya only, Chaitanya which is mixed up with antakarana, then what is the mukhya meaning there? Iti aha atmaneti. That's the tika. Iti aha atmaneti. And thereby the next verse 56, no sambandhokti there. Atmana chavina bhavam athava vilayam vrajet natu pakshantaram yayat ataschaham dhiyochyate. Vrajet, there is a tippana there. Is it kalpitasya adhisthana sattam vinasam bhavat. So here it says atmana cha avinabhavam athava vilayam vrajet natu pakshantaram yayat ataha cha aham diha uchyate. So further continuation of the 55th verse. Why aham dhiya kim uchyate? So without the Chaitanya, atmana cha avinabhavam athva vilayam vrajet. So here he says, without the Chaitanya satta, ahankara cannot be. Ahankara cannot remain. There's a dependency. Ahankara is mithya. That aham vritti also in mukhya meaning, it is mithya only. Mukhya meaning is jiva who is samsari. As I, aham manushya, aham purusha, aham stri ityadi. In that is the mukhya meaning. Aham shvetaketu, for the shvetaketu, for the student in Chandogya Upanishad who is given the Upadesha Tattvamasi, there the mukhya meaning of aham is shvetaketu only. The Guru Putra, Shishya has, Shvetaketu Shishya has Guru in the form of father. So he considers himself as Shvetaketu initially. That's why the first Tattvamasi does not work. 9 times the Upadesha was needed. Slowly there is growing clarity across 9 Upadeshas, and then he has understood it. This is Sandarbha there. So here, the Shvetaketu aham understanding, when Tattvamasi has been said, Tvam understood as aham, why is it Shvetaketu in the meaning of Shvetaketu? Because that is his samskara all along. Aham means that, Tvam means that. So aham means that. Aham does not mean Chaitanya. Otherwise, if he is told, oh, this Chaitanya that you are, that is Brahma, he would have understood, but that is not the meaning he landed on. Nobody can land on that meaning. It is only through Lakshana. And this aham does not survive without Chetana. If Chetana is gone, there won't be any Shvetaketu also. So there is no aham possible. Atmana cha avinabhavam vilayam vrajet athava. So without Atma, Atma Satta, ahankara won't be there. Nothing will be there. Everything has dependency on Atma, but every other entity needs aham to be associated. There is aham sambandha, not pratyagatma direct sambandha. Every other object is present not due to Chaitanya. We don't see it directly. Through Ishvara we say. Through Prapanchana is through Ishvara, or in Drishti Shruti Vada through the Jiva who is Ishvara. Ishvara Abhinna Jiva. When I objectify something, then only the object comes to life. Object is not there otherwise. If I am not objectifying it, somebody else is objectifying it. That's why we say Ishvara has created this prapancha. I objectify it, and then alone I see it. I may see some additional features which are not there. Shobhanadhyasa is there. So in Shrishti Drishti Vada, two are there. There is a Jiva Shrishti on top of Ishvara Shrishti. Ishvara makes everything present with their own dharmas, own gunas. And then I see it with a colored eye, with my raga dvesha coloring, with shobhanadhyasa, ashobhanadhyasa. This is good for me, this is not good for me. There is nothing good or bad. It is just there. That's it. Good and bad is my coloring. I want it. I dislike it. I love it. Whatever it is, all of this is my coloring. So thereby in Shrishti Drishti Vada, there is two layers of color, two layers which are there for an object to be an object for each and every individual. Without that, it is not possible. Even in Shrishti Drishti Vada, without Chaitanya, object cannot exist. In Drishti Srishti Vada, anyway, I am objectifying it, and then alone it becomes an object. My seeing itself is the creation of that object. So in either case, in Srishti Drishti Vada or Drishti Srishti Vada, Atmana Avinabhavam athva Vilayam Vrajet. It will be either Nashta or it will become what? Leena. Vilayam Vrajet. Natu Pakshantaram Yayat. There is no other possibility. Pakshantaram, there is no other possibility. Ataha aham dhiya uchyate. Only to aham dhi. Only when I say aham, in the mind the aham vritti should come up. Without that it is not possible. Without ahankara, nothing can be objectified. So everything will, even the aham vritti will become leena. One will go to Shushupti avastha if there is no satta backing the aham vritti. Satta is withdrawn, the antakarana will go to, either it will become nashta, meaning marana, or it will go to Shushupti. So we can take both meanings there, vilayam and avinabhavam. Both possibilities are there, Shushupti or marana. Antakarana will die off. Ghadapatadi prapancha will die off for me if there is no satta backing, atma satta backing, atmana vina. Because avinabhavam and athva has also been said, we can take two meanings, or athva can go with the earlier verse also. So there is a tika on that. Vidyamanam sat atma vyatirekena kshanam apina tishtati ityartha. What does it mean really? Even if it is there, it cannot be there without atma satta. Atma vyatirekena kshanam apina tishtati. Vidyamanam sadapi. Even if you think it is existent, it won't be there if you are not there. Sushupti. Take Sushupti example. The entire prapancha exists. Oh, it is there. It is real. Even the Dvaiti who says that prapancha is there, where is it in Sushupti for him? Even just because he is Dvaiti, prapancha will not remain to be there if he goes to Sushupti for him. He may say for others it is there. Others are also there only when you wake up and see others. Others are part of prapancha. Your Sharira itself is part of Prapancha. Others' Atma is not objectified. What you are objectifying is Sharira. That Sharira, just like your Sharira, is part of Prapancha. That Prapancha does not exist when you go to sleep. It is not there. Therefore, Vidyamanam Sat, even when the Prapancha is there, Atma Vyatirekena Kshanapina Tishtati means Avinabhavam Vrajet, Vilayam Vrajet. Really, if you look at this, I will read it. Shrishti Drishti Vada into, not Shrishti Drishti Vada, Drishti Srishti Vada into. The Shuddha Drishti Srishti Vada Vakya. Without the Atma, unless you would say Atma is Paramatma, oh, without Ishvara, then Srishti Drishti Vada, okay. But otherwise, this is Shuddha Drishti Srishti Vada, which is the Mukhya Paksha, Vivarana Paksha. Anyway, aham dhiya. What is aham dhiya here? Aham dhiya uchyate. Atma aham dhiya lakshanaya uchyate. Aham dhi hetuna aham shabdena iti yavat. Aham dhiya means what? Aham dhi hetuna. The aham buddhi, that what brings about aham buddhi, that is aham shabda. So aham dhi here is basically aham shabda in the Mahavakya. Aham brahmasmi, aham brings in aham dhi, and that aham dhi, through the aham shabda, what is meant? Pratyagatma through lakshana. Why? Because that ahankara, which is the main meaning of aham shabda or ahankara mishrita atma, cannot remain, or atma mishrita ahankara, we'll say chaitanya adhishthita, chaitanya adhishthita ahankara, which is the meaning of aham shabda. Through that aham shabda, why pratyagatma is indicated, is implied in aham brahmasmi, not directly but implied meaning. So 55th verse said that not a direct meaning, only through aham vritti, not through other vrittis, and only through lakshana. In the 56th verse, what is being said is that this, why pratyagatma alone, not anything else, or why not hold on to ahankara, some other paksha also. Why not say this jiva along with the antakarna is Brahma? Thereby antakarna, which is part of prapancha, all that will become Brahma. Even that paksha is refuted here in 56th verse. No, pakshantaram na yayat. There is no other paksha possible. This is the only way. And aham diya means the aham shabda, which is the hetu for aham buddhi to come up. Aham di means aham buddhi to come up. Oh, aham means I. That I notion. That I notion is not in the real meaning of pratyagatma, but aham shabdena uchyate. Aham shabdena uchyate. Aham shabda brings in aham di, and aham di vachyartha cannot be in the meaning of pratyagatma. In the meaning of Brahma also, there can be no samanadikaranyam. Samanadikaran there means aikya. Last time I said this literally samanadikaranam. With vyakarana vyutpatti it won't work. But samanadikaranam also has the meaning of aikya. Rudi artha. So samanadikaran means what? There is no aikya possible between these two. Pada samanadikaranam is not possible, meaning what? There is no aikya between padarthas. Padartha cannot be one. Ahankara and Brahma cannot be a single padartha. That's what the meaning means. Is in aham brahmasmi. If aham means ahankara and aham means pratyagatma also, it cannot be. Why? Brahma is Ishvara there. Brahma means Ishvara. So you need Bhagatyaga Lakshana. Without ahankara, it won't work. Ahankara is Mishrita. If you have landed on pratyagatma also, it is okay. But in the Tattvamasi or aham brahmasmi vaka, on Brahma is in the meaning of Ishvara. There you have to do Bhagatyaga only. So on both sides Bhagatyaga, or in one side if you have already done Jhati Lakshana, taking Ahankara as the main meaning, then you have to do Jhati Lakshana. Thereby what? Atma Shabdena Aham Dhi Hetuna. Aham Dhiya Aham Dhi Hetuna Aham Shabdena Uchyate iti yavat. This is the 56th verse. So you have to do Lakshana, only Lakshana will work. And here second, there is a Tippana, Vidyamanam. What does it say? Ahankara Vastu iti Adyahara. So Ahankara Vastu. Ahankara Vastu Vidyamanam Sat. Even if you think Ahankara is dead, that Ahankara is not going to remain if Atma is not backing. Atma Satta is not backing. Aham Asmi, Aham Bhami. That Ahankara Asti, Ahankara Bhati. Ghatadi prapancha asti bhati. All this is due to pratyagatma alone. Atma vyatirikena kshanamapi na tishtati. So this is the 56th verse. 57th verse says Kidar Gita. Okay. So evam
Swamiji,
shabda vachyam darshitam. Yes, Amma.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
in the 55th verse, there was one tippani, there was one footnote on Dravyatve, which we missed.
I mentioned that Dravyatve Sati. There is a tippana on that. Okay.
The footnote we missed.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I thought before we go further, we finish that.
Okay, Dravyatve, what is it? Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. So, thank you. That's Sankhya Sanyogadi Gunavritya Bhautikatvacha Antakarnasya Dravyatve Tad Vritti Rupa Ahankarasya Dravyatvam. So, Ahankara. See, Ahankara is here. Dravyatve sati sparshadi rahitatvat sukshmatvat. Here ahankara. Ahankara is what dravya and sparshadi rahita. Here, how it can be. Sankhya sanyogadi gunavrittya. भौतिकत्वाच्च अंतःकरणस्य द्रव्यत्वे तद्वृत्ति रूप अहंकारस्य द्रव्यत्वम. So that kind of ahankara is dravya. He says ahankara is dravya. There is no question. This tippana is not. See, again, as I said in this shloka, all these hetus which are there, whether those hetus are for ahankara, ahamvritti, meaning ahankara, ahamvritti, or they are for atma. So as I said, that to me it makes sense to split the hetu. आत्मदृष्टि अनुशीलनात् फॉर अहंकारा, बट प्रत्यक्त्वाद अतिसूक्ष्मत्वात् फॉर प्रत्यगात्मा, एंड आत्मदृष्टि अनुशीलनात् फॉर अहंवृत्ति और अहंकारा. हियर सी स्व व्यतिरिक्त सकल अनात्म अपेक्षया. व्हेन यू से सकल अनात्म अपेक्षा अंतरत्वात्, what is sakala anatma apeksha antara? It is not ahamvritti. Ahankara is anatma only. So sakala anatma apeksha antaratvam kasya. If you say ahankarasya, then you say ahankara swavyatirekta. So swavyatirekta sakala anatma. So yeah, that will swa is what? Ahankara. So ahankara vyatirekta sakala anatma. Every other anatma, because what swa means what? Ahankara. If swa means ahankara, then ahankara is also anatma. Therefore, ahankara which is anatma, tadvyatirikta sakala anatma, every other anatma which is outwards from ahankara, atma apekshaya antaratvat. Swavyatirekta sakala anatma apekshaya, sakala anatma apekshaya antaratvat, anatma apekshaya antaratvat. Now ahankara. So dravyatva has to be in ahankara. So there is a ahankara has dravyatva, but does ahankara have sparsha? Sparshadi rahitatva. So I said that this is atma, but if you take it as ahankara, sparshadi rahitatva. Sukshmatvacha atma sadharmyam kasya? Ahankarasya. That is why atma sadharmyam has been used. But I explained this as swavyatirekta sakala anatma apeksha antaratvat. We'll say I said it as atma. Because atma drishti anushilan, all these hetus will work. For ahankara, all this will work. But this is not the question of the Purva Pakshi. Right? Now he says, if antakarana is said dravyatva, this tippana won't make sense. The tippana which says why it is dravya. Atma is dravya, you'll need, because here dravyatvam, why dravyatvam is mentioned, tippana is not needed, because Tarkika says sparshadi rahitatvam kasya. Sparshadi rahitatvam atmana api. If, see, again, going back to this, all these hetus, are they for atma or for ahamvritti? In the tika, this atma sadharmyam shows that it is for ahamvritti. I explained this that for pratyagatma, or as mixed for pratyagatma as well as ahankara. Now, if you take everything as ahankara, then also sparshadi rahitatvam. Can ahamkara be, objectified with any of these? Shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha. Shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha. Does ahankara have shabda? Does I have some shabda? Can you hear I? You can't hear I. So shabda, you can't have sparsha of I. So all of this is in ahankara. Now ahankara is dravya. Ahankara is dravya, all right. But dravyatve sati is mentioned to take it away from antaratvam. Sakala anatma apeksha guna also has that. So I would read it as to take away ativyapti in guna, dravyatve sati has been added. This will work for atma also, for antakarana also. Now the tippana which says sankhya sanyogadi gunavattaya bhautikatvacha. This is explaining why is antakarana dravya. It is not explaining why dravyatva has been added. It is explaining what is the meaning of dravyatvam for antakarana. How is antakarana dravya? This question is not there for Tarkika. No Purva Pakshi is going to ask why is antakarana why are you calling antakarana aham, ahankara, antakarana as dravya? Antakarana may not be called, but ahankara, when you say, what is ahankara? Siddhanti says ahankara is antakarana. Some Purva Pakshi may say that ahankara is not antakarana. So for him, this dravyatva has to be explained. So there he says, Sankhya Sanyogadi Gunavritya. Sankhya is there. How many ahankaras are there? Ahankara has Sankhya. One ahankara, two ahankaras, whatever it is. So it is ahankara has Sankhya. Then Sanyogadi. Ahankara has Sanyoga also. Sanyoga is in Dravya. So this, again, as I said, only those who have studied Tarka, it will make sense. Sanyoga is a guna, is a dharma. Where does it stay? It stays in Dravya. Guna stays in Guni. So Sankhya is a guna, Sanyoga is a guna. All of these guna, vat is Dravya. So Sankhya, Sanyogadi, vat Dravyatvam. So that Taya, because this is a hetu. Because Ahankara has Sankhya and Sanyoga ityadi, therefore one. And thereby what? Bhautikatvacha. It is a bhuta karya. Ahankara is a bhuta karya. For the Siddhanti, it is bhuta karya. Why? Because it is antakarana. Antakarana itself plays the role of ahankara. So bhautikatvacha. It is a bhuta karya. Bhautikatvacha. Antakaranasya dravyatve. Antakarana is dravya now. Dravyatve tad vritti rupa ahankarasya dravyatvam. So antakarana is dravya. How is ahankara dravya? Ahankara is tadvritti. Tadvritti rupa. Tadvritti means antakarana vritti rupa. Ahankara is what? Is a function of antakarana. Therefore, it is dravya. It is only establishing why ahankara is called as dravya. Okay, so let's revisit this with ahankara as the meaning. What is the meaning? Pratyaktvad, ati sukshmatvad, atmadrushti anushilanaat ahankarasya. Ahankarasya pratyaktvat. Ahankara is pratyak compared to other. I explained it as Atma, but Atma is pratyak, ati sukshma, and but Atma drushti anushilana is not there in Atma. So antakarana here. Thereby ahankara, antakarana is closed. But here, this is with sandarbha, okay? Purva Pakshi has not asked this question. This is not answering the Purva Pakshi. That's why I said sandarbha. So, Atmadrushti Anushilana Antakarana. And Pratyeka Ati Sukshmata also, if you take it in Antakarana, then Ati Sukshma won't work. Pratyaktvat Ati Pratyak, see, Pratyak is a hetu that can use. You can say, Pranamaya Kosha is also Pratyak compared to the Annamaya Kosha. But it is not Atma. So that way you can take Antakarana is Pratyaktva. So I'll reinterpret this with the thanks for the tippana. We'll reinterpret this all these hetus in Antakarana. But it is not Purva Pakshi's question. It is Sandarbhata Uktam. Antakarana is Antakaranasya Pratyak. We'll say Ahankarasya. Okay, we'll say start. Antakarana means Ahankara here. Ahankarasya Pratyaktvat. Ahankarasya Ati Sukshmatvat. Ahankarasya Atmadrushti Anushilanaat. Ataha. So Ataha. Due to that, Ataha Anyaha Vrittihi Vihaya. What are the Anyaha Vritti? Ghatapatadi Vrittihi Vihaya, giving up all the Ghatapatadi Vrittis. Aham Vritya Atma, Pratyagatma Upalakshate. Okay? Upalakshana. But here, this is not the question. Only that it is a Lakshana is the Hetu. So all this Aham Vritti Vihaya all is not countering the Purva Pakshi. Purva Pakshi is not asked at all. So Sandarbhata Uktam. That is why the confusion, I thought that is talking about Pratyagatma. Pratyagatma is Pratyak, really Pratyak, Ati Sukshma, and Atma Drushti is followed by the Ahankara. Therefore, through Ahankara Vritti only, Pratyagatma is known, not directly. So here we can say that is why there is a confusion of Purva Pakshi that Ahankara means Atma. Because Pratyaktvad Ati Sukshmatvad can mean that Ahankara is Atma. But Siddhanti says no, Atma Drushti Anushilanat. Ahankara follows Atma Drushti. It is not Atma. So Aham does not mean Atma at all. But giving up other vrittis, you hold on to Aham Vritti, and Aham Vritti itself does not mean Pratyagatma. Through Aham Vritti, there is Lakshana done, and Lakshartha is Pratyagatma. Okay, so the main meaning will hold good. The only thing is that the complexity in the usage has to asandarbhata praptam. It is not there in sandarbha at all. This question is not there. Therefore, why this particular verse? You see, there is no continuation there. In fact, I don't see anything. So lakshana is there. Example is given. In the example, the way it is there. In the exemplified also is there. But in exemplified, it is anyaha vritti vihaya was not needed. Anyaha vritti vihaya was not needed. All this is not the question of the Purvapakshi at all. Okay, so let that be in the aham dhiya uchyate. Then further, yeah, so kidr, there is a evam aham shabda vachyam darshitam. We are in 57, right? Is that right? Yeah, aham shabdena iti yavat. Yeah. So 57th verse said, evam aham shabda vachyam darshitam. Aham shabda vachyam kasya darshitam. Pratyagatmana darshitam. Pratyagatma is aham shabda, actually aham shabda ahankarasya darshitam, because vachya means vachyartha. Aham shabda vachyam is ahankara only, not pratyagatma. Not pratyagatma. Aham shabdasya vachyam ahankaram, ahankarash artham darshitam, ahankara darshitam here. Now aham shabda vachyam darshitam. What is in napunsaka there to be used? Shabda vachyam darshitam. Only vachyam vachyartha ityartha. Darshita vachyartha darshita ityartha here. Idanim prashnapurvakam lakshyam darshati. So what is the lakshana? Nothing has been mentioned here. If you look at upalakshyate, here also, if you look at it, there is no prathama mentioned there. Aham vritya upalakshyate. Kaha upalakshyate? Kim upalakshate? That has not been given in 55th. Okay, 56th verse also. Atmana cha avinabhavam athava vilayam vrajet natu pakshantaram yayad atascha aham dhiya uchyate. Kim uchyate aham dhiya? Prathama is missing there. Prathama vibhakti is still missing. What is? So, but sandarbha is what? Atma, pratyagatma uchyate in both cases. Now here, kim lakshyam. What is this lakshya really? And what is the characteristic of, what is the lakshana of this lakshya? Lakshartha. So thereby idanim prashnapurvakam lakshyam darsheti. What is the lakshartha of that aham shabda? Aham shabdasya vachyam ahankaraha iti darshitam. Now aham shabdasya vachyam is over. Lakshyam kim? Kidrisham lakshyam. Thereby prashnapurvakam darsheti kidruk iti. Kidruk punah vastu lakshyam. What kind of vastu? So vastu is used as napunsaka here. Shabdam vachya. What is this? Ahankara vastu. So here you say aham shabda vachyam ahankara vastu darshitam. And here idanim prashnapurvakam lakshyam darsheti kidruk lakshyam. What is that lakshyam? Vastu lakshyam. Kidruk punah vastu lakshyam. That is brahma vastu, atma vastu lakshyam. What is that? Nama dibig. No, sorry. 36. Okay. I'll just I started this verse. I'll finish this and stop. Nama dibhyah pura. नामादिभ्यः परो भूम निष्कलोकारको क्रियः स एव आत्मवतामात्मा स्वतः सिद्ध स एव नः. I mentioned earlier, when I see these avagras, my mind goes for a toss. So there is a old samskar of stop where when you see avagras, when you see two, goes for a toss twice. So namadibhyah paraha bhuma nishkalaha akarakaha akriyah saha eva atmavatam atma swatah siddha saha eva nah asmakam. So he says, who is what is the lakshya? He says that it is bhuma. Bhuma is what? Ananta. Bhuman shabda. So ananta ityartha. So ananta. Bhuma vai sukham. Na alpe sukham asti. Alpe sukham nasti. Bhuma is sukha means ananta is sukha. In alpa there is no sukha. In anantya there is sukha. So Upanishad says that. So bhuma, it is bhuma. It is ananta. Lakshya is what? Ananta with aham shabda. And paraha, it is Para compared to what para? Separate also, different or different from what? Namadi, Nama Rupa Ityadi. From that, Paraha, you can say superior also and different also, that is Bhuma Ananta. Everything else is Alpa. Namadi is Alpa. Alpe Sukam Nasti. But Bhuma Vai Sukam. So Ananta, it is Ananta. Lakshya is Ananta. Ananta Brahma. Nishkala Brahma, partless. No kalas, parts are there. Akaraka, it is not a kartrukaraka, and all other karakas also we have seen. It is not a karaka, not a karaka. So karaka bhinna also. Akriya, it is not kriya. It does not have kriya also. So neither is it kriya nor it is kriyavat, kriyavan. Saha eva atma kesham atmavatam atma. Those who have atma, for them it is atma. Meaning it is the superior, most superior Chaitanya of wherever you see Chaitanya. Okay, Atmavatam, not only Chaitanya, Satta also. Wherever you see Satta, that Satta is Atma Satta. Therefore, Sarvesham ityartha. Atmavatam means what? Sarvesham. Atmavatam, you can say Jiva because here Aham Brahmasmi is for Jiva. So you can say Chaitanya in the meaning of Chaitanya. Those who have Atma, Jivas, for all Jivas, it is the Atma of all Jivas. It is Atma of all Jivas, you can say. And if you take Sat, it will be for all Bhutas, all Jada also. Swatah Siddha. How do you know it is Swatah Siddha? Sahaeva. Sahaeva Laksha. Naha Asmakam. For Vedantis, Asmakam, that which is Namadihi, meaning the question is what? Kidrik Puna Vastu Laksham. But Napunsaka, question is in Napunsaka, Samanya Napunsakam. Kimasti. Then you say, oh, Ahamasmi. Kimasti. Question can be Kimasti. Then you say Ahamasmi or Saasti in whichever linga. Question is in Napunsaka. So Namadibhya Parabhuma. Question is in Pullinga here. So you just, as it is. Saeva Atmavatam Atma Swatah Siddha Saeva Naha. So you can keep it as it is also. Simple and where nothing to do. Or you swap the words little. Saeva Naha Swatah Siddha Atmavatam Atma Bhavati. And all of these Visheshanas can be added. We'll look at more in the Tika in the next part. There are some 2 lines of Tika. Sorry, I overshot the class, but started late. I thought I will cover up something. Too many breaks. Okay, as you see, the lights went away during the Patha. So some emergency light is there. Okay. Yat sakshat sachidanandam pratyagadvayam akriyam tannamami nirasya yogi gamyam param padam. Namaste. Dhanyavada. So we may have more breaks because rainy season has officially set in. So more the range, lesser the range. My phone does not get any range in this room anymore. In the cloudy weather, I have hanged my phone outside somewhere and using through hotspot. So today it worked.